Hey everyone, fear in the markets have been rising in the last few weeks. Not surprisingly, it coincide with the 9 consecutive week in which the US market has been down. Now, essentially, people are fearful of a few things: uncertainty, tariffs, how long will it take, how low will the markets get. Essentially, in this video, I'm going to share with you my perspective because I want to tell you that you should be glad there's fear in the market because fear allows you to make millions from the market. Do not fear because fear actually gives you the opportunities to be able to make a once in a lifetime kind of life changing perspective, life changing experience as what I've experienced. But before that, let me talk to you about what is really fear. Have you heard of the name Harry Houdini, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I guess not many of you have heard because he lived until only 1926, just 2 years before the Great Depression took place. But for those of you all who know him, you'll notice that he is a man of many, many talents. He is actually a magician, he's an author, and he was a boxer as well. Okay, and if anything, his life actually epitomizes what is the meaning of fear. Now, fear, look at this diagram, actually is the fact that when he was immersed in a jar, failure means a drowning death. Now, that is fear, ladies and gentlemen, because when they covered him with water and he's unable to escape, essentially, that is fear, right? So, if you're talking about market uncertainty, that's not fear, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the second thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that look at this diagram. Now, Houdini is touted as Europe's eclipsing sensation. That is, nothing on earth can hold Houdini a prisoner. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't let fear, if anything, as an investor, hold you a prisoner. And if you look at again his resume, way back, he is and was a state magician, an author, an escape artist, an aviator, entrepreneur, and inventor. So he definitely knows what is fear. But what is not stated there, he was a boxer. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He lived from 24th of March 1874 right up to 31st October 1926. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, only 50 years old. Now, let me tell you how he died. Okay, now he is a very good boxer, ladies and gentlemen. He won many bouts, and of course, he gambled his way in that. No, he didn't die from gambling, but he was actually knocked out by a sucker punch. What is a sucker punch? Well, somebody just before his performances, his last performances, actually went up to him and asked him, a few questions. And then he delivered a sucker punch, which is essentially something that here originates from something unexpected. So if you come back to today's scenario, where tariffs, whether it's going to be 3 months, reciprocal tariffs, whether China will retaliate, do you already know what's going to happen? Well, you probably know, right? Except you do not know one, the timing, the magnitude, and the extent of it. So is it fear or is it uncertainty? Why do I love fear, ladies and gentlemen? That is because you are well prepared for it. Now, in my past videos, as you can see, I've actually shared that I've sold almost 3 million worth of stocks. 1 of million of which is actually on Maple Tree Logistics Trust. You can see that right up to the beginning of this month, that is 1st of April, I still and have continued to sell almost 1 million worth of Maple Tree Logistics at prices between 131 to 133. Right now, 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, the MLT share price is still almost a drop of 25% from the level I sold. Now, of course, you may ask, does it mean therefore it's a good time to buy back? Well, it's something that we'll share in our next upcoming class on 17th of May. Now, the other thing, of course, is that I've also sold other REITs that performed very well in the last cycle, right up to March. One of which was actually CICT, which I shared in my last video, as well as Capital Land Centers. And look at Capital Land Centers. When I sold it, it was at 273. The share price now is still about 8 to 12% below the prices that I sold. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, when you have raised 3 million of capital and waiting to buy, you love fear. Now you may ask, ladies and gentlemen, why is it, or do I actually have the foresight to actually see a market downturn? Let me tell you honestly, well, the answer is probably not. But we base our scenario forecasting, as we shared in our GCP global classes previously, on what we call probabilistic studies, which we'll share in detail with you in our next class on 17th of May. Now, one of the key concepts that we have, and I want to share with you in this video, is this. There are few things that people know, okay? But sometimes people put fear into the wrong perspective. Take, for example, the inverse relationship between the S&P and the VIX index. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, in the last 25 years, from the year 2000 right up to this year, for the last 25 years, there have been three episodes as shown in the gray area, where there is a huge direct inverse relationship between the S&P and the 10-year or the VIX index. As you can see, the blue line, when the VIX spike up to 40 and above, the S&P normally take a huge dive. But guess what? They always recovered. Is this going to be the same case for uh, this current episode? I really think so. You know, when is something that we will talk about on the 17th May class. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, again, people are fearful. But if you look at the statistics in the last 35 years, from 1990 up to now, there have been 14 episodes of which fear gripped the market, and the VIX index actually spiked up on two occasions when it went up to above 60. The last of which was during the COVID-19 crisis, and then there were other 12 episodes where the VIX actually shot up to above 40. Guess what? In the last 14 sell down, where the VIX shot up and spiked up so sharply. Now, the period in which the VIX hit its highest, that is 60, 40, 80, that was the week it actually epitomizes and coincided with the bottom of the market. So this round, ladies and gentlemen, the VIX, the highest so far is 59. So if you ask me whether I am prepared if the VIX shoots up again to between 60 to 80, which I hope then coincide with the bottoming of the market, which in the market we call it capitulation. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is something that we watch out for. Now, you may say, ladies and gentlemen, that having the financial resources and preparedness, the ability to sell and raise the money before the markets fall is one thing. But of course, the other thing I want to share with you is my own experience. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I retired way back in 2009 after making tons of money buying US stocks, particularly Citigroup below $1, AIG, Goldman Sachs, which all had a problem during global financial crisis. Yes, this was actually the interview I gave where fortune favors the brave on 9th of November 2009. And subsequently, there was another article written about me retiring from stock market after heading the institutional sales desk of Wall Street firm, as well as three broking houses in Singapore in my early 40s. Now, that is because that was an event changing life experience, which I have gained from that, which now I share in my classes, and it's something that I'm hopeful for this time around, so that I can even capitalize more, and it's something that this time around, because thanks to YouTube, I'm able to share this experience with you. So till then, watch the markets a bit closer. So like I said in this video, don't let fear grip you. Fear, no fear. Don't fear fear, because fear allows you to make money and multiply well in uncertain times like this. In uncertain times like this, listen to people with experience, listen to people with the facts and the analysis. Enjoy your weekend.